Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Now, speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of the people who do support me on Patreon. So massive shout outs to Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Billy Highvault, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As the Earth, Chow Young Cat, Dank, David Wayne Foster, Edwin Johnson, Felix Hung, Fireball X, Godrockin, Jeronism, Kirsten Smith, Life is Short, Matt, Michael, Page, Qatar Craig, Reinhardt, Renee, Sam Hine, Skeptic936, Sweet Equity, Texas Mike, theflatearthchannel.com, Tina Baker, and Tom, is it Hawkins? Herkins? I'll get your name right by the next time I read it out. New supporter. Thank you very much for joining me on Patreon, Tom, and thank you very much to everybody else who supports me on Patreon. We're joined by Righteous Force and 10th Man in G+. How you both doing?
Very good. Hello. Hey, Righteous.
Hello, hello. And I think we're also joined by quite a few people in Discord as well, so I don't know if you've got them all on mute or off mute, Righteous Force.
I'll take them off now.
The man. I didn't realise, to be honest, how much I was depending on you. You don't know what you don't know, and I didn't know you were kind of monitoring that stuff. And then the other day you're like, oh, I'm off now. And I'm like, oh yeah, the people need to be taken off mute in the Discord server, don't they? So then I had to faff around with it. And by the end of the show, people were moaning at me and telling me what a poor job I was doing. So I should really extend some gratitude to you because you're so good at it, I don't even notice you're doing it. So yeah, thank you, Righteous Force.
No problem.
Definitely deserves a bit of kudos. I've no idea what I'm doing with Discord, really. So yeah, I'm pretty much reliant on people like yourself, and I don't even know it, and I don't even know I should be grateful.
until it's missing.
Well, yeah, until you go, oh yeah, obviously that person's doing X, Y, and Z because I'm now doing it badly.
Yeah, it's like the guy who never does his laundry, and then his wife goes on vacation for a month.
Hey, did anybody actually say hello in Discord? Maybe Earth-Shaped Investigator, if you can shout hello.
Hello,
No, nobody,
hello,
but...
I'm here.
Perfect. Just want to check that it's all working, that was all.
All right, great, thanks.
Mr. Giggles wasn't... I wanted to talk to him, but I was busy getting ready myself. He did something yesterday interesting in Discord. Like, I guess near the evening, things got boring. All the flat earthers were leaving. And I was like, oh, great. Now I gotta entertain the ballers. And they asked me, hey, you want to play this yes-no game? I'm like, sure, why not? And I thought it was pretty interesting. I'm not going to say what it was about, but it like made me think. And I was like eagerly waiting the next questions to see how they were going to try to... I don't know. I'll talk to it about another time. I want to see some more people go through these questionings. Apparently somebody did before me, and they got all triggered by it.
What were they in relation to? The heliocentric version of the world, presumably?
No, it was the flat Earth asking us a bunch of questions about the shape of the Earth and what we believe. And they're basically trying to like corner us and like give us contradictory questions and try to catch us in the contradiction.
That's good. I applaud that. I mean, I was just thinking to myself, I'd be useless at that because it'd be like, what's your answer to this? And my answer would be, I don't know. What's your answer to this?
No.
I don't know. I haven't got a clue. And that's the truth. But there are lots of pretender clown flat earthers that go around asserting this and that and the other about the nature of reality. So I actually applaud that. I hope you do catch out some pretender clown flat earthers with your questions. Good for you.
But yeah.
Go on. How did you get on? You personally?
With the questions?
Yeah.
Well, at first I was like, I didn't know what was going on at first. And I was like, they were already pointing my contradictions and how do I say? And then I started thinking more carefully about the questions that were coming in. And how do I say? Because they mostly want you to say yes and no. They don't want to explain. But then after a while, they were pointing my contradiction, and then I was able to get out of it and show sufficient enough things to back my claim to, how do I say, to show that it wasn't a contradiction. So it was a nice little mind game. I like that. I enjoyed it. I'm not afraid to say I have some beliefs, right?
Sure. But you did okay.
I make it clear it's a belief, right?
You did okay, though.
Yeah, I did okay.
Not that I'm sure you're not that concerned with how well you get on a globe head challenge. But,
no, I just like the thrill of learning how to debate and how to think more logically, and so I accept the challenge. When I debate globers, I don't debate to really win or lose. I just debate them to learn how to argue better. Because watching the show is one thing, but then participating with the ballers vocally is another thing. So at first I was caught off guard, and then I'm okay, I'm getting the hang of it. So that's why I don't get triggered when I talk to ballers. I just enjoy learning how to debate better and how to make my arguments more concise.
Depends on the baller. Some people are disgusting human beings, and therefore you'll get frustrated with them regardless of what they're arguing or talking about. And they're pretty decent, and you can talk about it and have a laugh with them. Even if you don't get your concessions, they're going to behave like fundies no matter what. They're fundies, but some of them are reasonable in that discourse.
I like the laughs. I like to have a couple of laughs myself. So it's all good fun for me.
I think the main thing is at the end of these discussions, I don't tend to lose any sleep over them. I'm not worried about the outcome of any particular discussion I've had with one of the fundies. It doesn't change my worldview. I've said this on multiple shows recently because the reports still keep coming in. People telling me about depressed globe heads. And you're like, well, they're obviously having this weigh heavy on their head after these discussions. Me, that's not the case at all. Literally forget about it. And I mean, there's the exception to every rule. Yesterday I had a discussion on Ranty's channel with George Netanyahu, made my points left, and literally with the iPad still running in the background, the second I left, he made exactly the same argument. Now that did piss me off. I wasn't getting, just going to go off to bed, which was absolutely my intention. I'm like, bloody hell, it's like I wasn't even there. So I went back on and I'm like, I've just made this point and demolished it. Anyway.
Well, the ballers who are actively pushing the globe model are, as we've talked in the shows before, they're not the normies. The normies could, take an issue of one of the 7 housekeeping questions, maybe chit-chat a little bit, and then move on to talk about sports. Ballers are there in the trenches trying to defend it. And so it just gets a little bit more warlike in the sense of, when Righteous was talking, I was thinking about Tokyo Rose, the propaganda arm of the Japanese army during the World War II. They would have her broadcast messages to the American soldiers to put doubt in their heads. And if I'm right about the story, they had held her family hostage and made her do it. So she really didn't even want to do it. So it's an interesting story how the psychological warfare is at the trenches versus if you're just talking to a family member and then you go to sports or something because you hit a bump in the road or something where they don't want to go on.
Yeah, the trench argument in Flat Earth versus Globe Earth is very different to the mainstream rhetoric. We often utilise the mainstream rhetoric, like Neil deGrasse Tyson asserting that football, travels in a straight line as the Earth and goalposts rotate underneath, enabling a football to go through the posts rather than not go through them because the Earth rotates underneath. That's the actual Globe Earth rhetoric for the nonsense that is globe-based Coriolis. We'll use that to say, well, if the Earth rotates underneath the ball, like your priest says, then it also rotates under helicopters and planes and anything else in the inertial reference frame. So we'll use their arguments against them when they come from the priesthood. Neil deGrasse Tyson, Brian Cox, whoever. NASA themselves, for a lot of the people in this discussion. Not necessarily us so much, but that's a different point. But I've completely forgotten my point now. What was my point?
The trenches. The trenches.
Again?
The trenches when they get...
Exactly. In the trenches, the argument isn't Neil deGrasse Tyson or Brian Cox's argument, it's the Rumpus's argument. You know, him telling us about how we should accept the whole body of science and how the scientific community says this and therefore we should accept it. Interesting turn of events recently is Rumpus is saying, physicists really shouldn't be saying, astrophysicists that is, I might add, pretender clowns, otherwise known as pseudoscientists. Astrophysicists shouldn't really be saying gravity isn't a force. It's like, what's that you say? Suddenly the whole body of science isn't agreeable, Rumpus. How interesting. Considering he preaches so much about the body of science, it's telling that he would want to tell astrophysicists to change their tune.
Yeah, we call that shop talk, stuff that they talk among themselves. Shop talk, you don't actually talk that way with someone you're trying to sell a car to or sell anything to. Salesmen go in the back of the room, have their little shop talk. So he doesn't want the shop talk.
I was going to say it's more trench-like. It's like the guy in the trenches going, the Admiral doesn't have the slightest idea how to run this war. He should do this.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what it's like down here in the trenches.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, you go tell Admiral deGrasse Tyson.
or Admiral deGrasse Tyson.
Or Captain Musa. That they're wrong.
Yeah, I was at a family event last night and subject of the moon landing came up. And I go, yeah, that's all fake. Just saying it to move on. I didn't want to get into it. And one of the guests looks at me, says, you don't believe we went to the moon? And I said, on 1960s technology, in a space, a vacuum that doesn't exist? No, I don't think we went to the moon.
That reminds me.
And then the whole thing went on after that. It was great.
That reminds me. I was at my dad's yesterday, and I sneakily showed him the lunar lander all zoomed in. And I asked him, what does this look like? And I got him to admit it looked like a movie prop or something. And that was huge for me because how do I say? He doesn't believe in all this stuff I'm into. So I was pleased with that.
So he saw the curtain rods?
Yeah, it looked pretty bad.
Yeah, so I brought that up too. I said, have you seen the lunar lander? You see the 10,000 pounds of thrust that didn't make a hole, didn't spread one speck of dust on the pods, on the legs, nice gold foil. Oh, and if you zoom in, it looks like shower curtains and Reynolds wrap. I had no response.
I like it when it's in model form, not the full-size one with the gold foil, but the one that they show flying next to the model of the moon. And it's stop-motion animation, blatantly. And they're twisting this model and having it dock, when they leave the moon and redock with the mothership in orbit.
Yeah.
It just looks so terrible. It's worse than most 1960s movies. It's just awful. But that's supposed to be real. And who is it? I think it was Dilly Gill recently did I think he was supposed to be doing a two-parter, but for time restraints he just released the first half of it. I think he said he was going to do a presentation actually on Ranty Flat Earth channel, so hopefully he does do that. I can't wait. I really, really like Dilly Gill. So if you haven't subscribed to Dilly Gill already, DILLYGILL, Dilly Gill, just the best NASA debunker out there, just bar bar far and away, as far as I'm concerned. If that offends somebody else who's debunking NASA, I don't care, because I think he's fabulous. So go and check out Dilly Gill. But his most recent sort of 1 of 2 part video was like a whole string at the beginning. It was about a 2-minute snippet of things like that, you know, the terrible stop motion animation and just various other little clips that he shows of them being on a set. So you saying, oh well, it looks like it's a prop. Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a prop. It's a property. It's a property of some studio somewhere that's built it to film it to fake the moon landings with a backdrop.
Yeah, and not that we know every detail of this, but you see the pictures of Stanley Kubrick at NASA with NASA people, and it's like, what's he doing there? I mean, why would he even be there?
Oh, they're on the cutting edge of cinematography. So NASA.
Yeah, but they put out that such garbage at the time. He did better with 2001: Space Odyssey.
Probably consulting with them, but in terms of I think it was Barry Lyndon. He had to borrow NASA lenses to film that low lights, those low light scenes. If I can get my tongue around it, he's using the cutting edge NASA technology in order to film those Hollywood scenes in very low light, very dim candlelight. So yeah, he's utilizing their cutting edge technology. So there's a published reason why he's with them, and the spin is obviously that he's borrowing their equipment.
So
audio chaos.
Audio chaos. So they're saying he's there because of their technology, and other people are saying they're using him for his technology.
Well, it's probably 6 to 1 and a half a dozen. The Barry Lyndon thing's definitely true. He did definitely use their equipment, or lenses specifically, to film those candlelit scenes. So that connection is well documented. But, you know, the other inference that you're drawing seems obvious. But why? Why not just... It could just be a total red herring. You know, absolutely make sure that somebody who is filming similar footage is somehow publicly associated, but definitely... if you dug into Kubrick, not associated with anything to do with the moon landing fakery. So it's like a bit of plausible deniability that they inject in there, for all I know, because there's no actual evidence that he's worked on those films. Obviously, there wouldn't. Why would there be? You know, they're not going to let that be out there in any way, shape, or form. So, you know, to assert it by inference, well, yeah, fine. But can you prove it? No. Neither can I.
It's interesting how he put those little clues with the sweatshirt and all those things in his future movies. It just makes it all the more intriguing.
Sure, I agree. You know, I've seen the same documentaries.
Well, I mean,
Good morning, guys.
Good
Hey,
morning.
Hey, Paul. I
Well,
think
that's a-
like the hardest trick when trying to show other people this is you can't get them to sit through enough. Like they automatically want to reject it, even if you show something that's like devastating. They don't want to look more. At least
Well,
that's how it is. Like with me and my dad. Like I so want to like show him way more, but he like stops me right away. So I can only show him like bits and pieces every once in a while.
that's I've experienced the same, but that's cognitive dissonance, and they can't handle the if you stay on one subject, say Coriolis, for example, and you want to just bring all the evidence for what actual Coriolis is, and then say, do we have Earth-based Coriolis, and contrast the two, and obviously it's a devastating argument against the globe because we're not spinning, or else we'd have it. The planes would get to their destination faster, flying towards the Earth's spin. But they're jumping to too many subjects because of cognitive dissonance. Well, what about this? And what? You mean everybody in NASA's lying? I mean, everybody? How can so many? And so it's just it's too big of a lie for them to digest at that one time. So they got to argue with it, even though they're not ready to argue with it.
Is
But there's
everyone
something else too.
lying from
It's like
NASA? Jeez, oh man. Welcome to 2015 for crying out loud. Good morning, folks. Crayon munchers.
morning,
Hello.
Kiwi.
Hey, Kiwi.
Hey, QE channel under review, baby.
Oh, that's good.
Turn out the lights.
Good to hear it.
Yep. I didn't have to do anything, man. It's automatically it went immediately under review.
Brilliant.
Why?
Trying to get his channel monetized, you've got to have a certain amount of criteria met. 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch time hours, and a load of other tick boxes ticked, which were all ticked anyway. So presumably because all the others were ticked anyway, it's just automatically gone to a YouTube review. Excellent.
3 weeks, man.
What they said.
No, 3 weeks. From my birthday till today is 3 weeks.
Oh, from when you started the channel. That's outstanding. Outstanding.
I can't believe it.
That's great. Well, when you first said under review, I was thinking bad. Now I'm thinking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why up so early?
Yeah, I got up early today for some reason. I don't know why. I guess it's
2015.
voice meter banana going over and over in my head. I haven't downloaded it yet. I've just watched the video about 10, 20,000 times. Trying to just get my head around it. But Nathan, next week, man, me and you on voice meter banana, man, we're gonna hook it up.
Okay, I don't mind helping. I may not be as much help as you hope, though.
Nah, yeah, I think you got the answers. I think you got the answers to what's ailing me.
Maybe. Well, I hope so.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Well, I got a question for you, QE.
Oh, the question's too early. I got a question for Nathan.
Hang on.
Hold on a second. He sent me a message last night, and I was dead in those voice meter banana videos, right? and said something about Ranty. So after I was done, and I had to do a bunch of stuff last night, I went on and pulled up. I presupposed that there was some video out, and it went private.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
That video is private. What the hell happened?
Oh, nothing. I was moaning because my rumpusing wasn't as loud as George's rumpusing, and I just wanted to moan about it.
Oh God, George was on there again.
Yeah. The only thing that was noteworthy or of mention was through all the rumpusing, which George won in that regard. He was louder than me, and I couldn't do anything about it. But the bits that were heard by George, he completely ignored upon me leaving. So he asserted that the Earth and atmosphere are travelling as one. I asserted that north, south, and west surface winds would completely debunk that notion. You can't. That's an impossibility. They're independent, and also the nature of gas itself, i.e., it's expanding in all directions, freely moving, independent of itself, let alone the Earth. And when I finally got those points through, I left after telling him he was a disgusting human being and he was proud of it, which he agreed with. And I then left, and as I'm walking away, pretty much, I've got the iPad still running with the show running, and immediately after I'd gone, he goes to his whiteboard and draws the Earth and says that the Earth and atmosphere are rotating. I just not many things annoy me, but that did piss me off royally. So I just went straight back on. I'm like, I've just debunked this. Literally, just. And he just, another 20 minutes, 25 minutes of rumpusing with my wife coming in, because it's like midnight here. Just like, I'm going to divorce you if you don't stop shouting.
Unbelievable, that. George, he should be institutionalized. No doubt about it, man. I can. If Ranty makes that video public, I could just about guarantee the look on his face. It's like that deer in the headlights look that's been skinned. He's I tell you what, boy, he's scary retarded. I don't get it, people. I just don't get it.
Well,
good move.
George is one of those ones that I take it personally with because of his attacks on Brian Mullen. George is in the latter years of his life, and he's attacking somebody who's in the earlier stages of his life, and essentially attacking his career. And someone on the panel was like, "Oh, you don't have to shout and swear at him." I'm like, I'm wearing my emotion right on my sleeves here. My sticks and stones will break your bones. It's not like anything I'm going to say is actually going to hurt George Netanyahu. Whereas him contacting the license provider of Brian Mullen will absolutely affect that man's life. And, that type of behaviour based on how George doesn't understand how Coriolis works and will assert nonsense like Earth and atmosphere travelling as one is absolutely abhorrent, and I'm, that kind of gets the better of me, which is a failing on my part, but, like I say,
It's not a failing. It's not a failing on your part. I had the same reaction when he did it, the little Dunning-Kruger retard. Let's call his board. Friggin' clown. He knows
board?
what he did. We already went over this. Why don't you run those the George Knucklehead videos again?
Yeah, what board, though? The guy's retired. He's presumably not got anything more than his dog to appeal to.
The mental health board.
Yeah, but like I say, that's what pisses me off the most, if I'm honest. It's like, all right, so you've gone through your career. You're now in your latter stages of the life with the little bit of YouTubing, keeping you occupied just to keep yourself amused. And over a misunderstanding, George's misunderstanding about how Coriolis should work on Earth, and the necessary ingredients to have Coriolis, 2 reference frames, his misunderstanding being admirably demonstrated by him claiming that we have 1 reference frame, Earth and atmosphere travelling as one. Not possible, defied by the law of gases, and defied by north, south, and west surface winds. But, his admirable demonstration of his stupidity in this regard, Coriolis-based effects on Earth, of which there are none, he's attacked a man's career. Just like I say, just abhorrent.
I agree. And I went right to that same video, man, and told him exactly that. That's when I didn't know George all that well, but I quickly found out what a friggin' knuckle-headed crayon muncher he was. So he was attacking Brian Mullen out of pure ignorance. Well, I don't know if he did or not. He sent his erectile dysfunction, that ED crowd, Cordis, Tau, Ceti, Alpha, I can't remember all the friggin' knuckleheads that were on that channel. They set them guys loose, right? All he had to do was just call the board, right? And just he didn't even have to say anything. We already went over this. He didn't even have to say anything bad. Just put some questions to the board concerning Brian Mullen. And if anybody was on that board that knew Brian Mullen or knew his boss, he's done. And that's what those guys did. Because Brian was exposing those knuckleheads officially. So we all know what George. You're mentally retarded, sir. That dog is smarter than you. How many times we got to toe tag your dumb ass? I can't believe people. They have no shame. I think the Dunning-Kruger, it's not cognitive dissonance. It's clinical level Dunning-Kruger syndrome. That's what it is. It's apparent.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. No, damn it, the nature of Earth. I will get there eventually. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Quantum Eraser, Righteous Force, Paul and 10th Man in G+ and Skype. Good to have you all.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. And
Hello.
we're also joined by a whole bunch of people in Discord as well. So welcome, one and all.
Hey, Nathan.
Hello, lots of quiet people.
That was Red. He's got a bad mic during the day because he's on his phone.
Totally can relate.
It's okay.
Any evidence of the old Earth curvature? Anybody?
Oh, still looking for it, Nathan.
Nothing here.
No distant rumblings about Earth curvature? No accounts of people trying to beg the question with curve calculators? Nothing at all? About
No,
axial,
nothing.
When the
about
show's
axial
not on.
rotation of the Earth-based variety.
Nothing.
No, there would be Earth-based Coriolis if that was the case, but there isn't any of that either.
Yeah, worth mentioning that to have Earth-based Coriolis, Earth would require two reference frames. Earth being the non-inertial spinning reference frame, the atmosphere being the inertial reference frame. So, if you sat on a roundabout, analogous to the spinning ball Earth, and you hold in your hand a drone, and in the other hand you hold a remote control, and you slowly spin around on the roundabout, and then at one point you push the stick up and the drone goes up to a given position and hovers. Now it's staying in the same position, it's not moving left, right, up or down, it's just hovering in one position. Now from your position underneath the drone appears to get closer and further away, as you rotate underneath the drone. So the apparent deviation, i.e. looking like it comes closer and looking like it gets further away, is an apparent deviation due to you rotating underneath and not the drone actually coming closer to you physically by moving. You're moving, the drone isn't. Now that's analogous to Earth if it had a Coriolis effect. So to have Coriolis on Earth, you'd need the Earth rotating in the same exact way underneath the drone. So you hold a drone on a spinning Earth, you press your up stick, and Earth would rotate underneath that drone, or helicopter, or aeroplane, or, as Neil deGrasse Tyson claims, a football that travels in a straight line with the posts of the goal moving underneath to cause the field goal to go through. But if you can observe it as Neil deGrasse Tyson claims in a football, observe the Earth rotating underneath, that is, then the Earth rotates underneath aeroplanes, and a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina, typically about 4.5 hours, would take an hour and a half, because the Earth would be rotating underneath. Likewise, a drone would leave your hand when you push the up stick, and without moving at all, you could just wait for the street across the road to come to it. That's Coriolis effect. Sorry, go on.
We might have a challenge for the Coriolis. Somebody posted in Discord a Wolfie video that just came out yesterday, titled "The Coriolis effect is no problem for aircraft if you catch my drift."
Oh, Wolfie just, I don't know. If it's anything got to do with Wolfie, then it's not going to be true.
Wolfie
What's
couldn't
that?
tie his shoes without a freaking fleet of slobber nurses, dude.
What
Well, we
Wolfie
got a
needs-
baller who presented the video. Maybe they can summarize what happened in the video.
Maybe.
Nathan just summarized it. I mean, it's just that simple. You can't debunk that.
In order for Wolfie's claim of
Yeah, it's
apparent
reality.
drift, so if he's saying there is an apparent drift of the aeroplane, because there is a Coriolis effect claimed to be on the spinning ball Earth reification fantasy, well, he's claiming there's an apparent drift. That's his word, drift. Now, what does that mean? It means that you standing on the non-inertial spinning ball Earth would see the plane deviate, drift from your position because the plane moves in a straight line and you rotate underneath. Now the plane's not actually turning left or turning right, it's moving in a straight line. The apparent drift is you rotating underneath. Like on the roundabout with the drone, it seems to get closer and further away because you rotate underneath. So if Wolfie's claiming that planes have an apparent drift, he's claiming the Earth rotates underneath planes. and you'd have a massively shortened duration of flight when travelling towards the west. Patently absurd. Doesn't happen.
Yeah, it doesn't matter
Sure.
what they show. They can't show any curvature for this ball that they say. And if it's a ball, it's got to have curvature. And they can't show any
Yeah.
rotation. And if you can't show
Yeah,
rotation, it's not spinning. And if it's not spinning, there's no gravity. And they don't even know what that is either. This is nonsense. These people are stupid.
Yeah, but they're trying so hard.
Well, of course, they have to try hard because it's the vampires out in the daylight now. There's light shining on the lie.
It burns us.
It
Oh, hey,
burns
Arwen.
us. Hey, Arwen. That's
Hello.
good. You sound like a hobbit there. It burns us. Give me second breakfast.
No, it burns us. It burns us.
My precious.
That's great. Yeah,
Hey.
that's exactly what it is.
Get it
It's my
off me.
precious.
Talking of burns, any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Yeah, not
No.
measured.
Oh, sorry.
There's a few people in who've joined us since Discord. So check everyone's unmuted. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Only in sci-fi.
Every time I hear it, I just have to snicker a little. It's just so convoluted, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have any purpose either.
Well, they got to
Convoluted.
have it.
Convoluted the way I say
No,
it.
but they don't.
Well, that's where they get their gravity, right? That's how they say it.
What? They don't even know what gravity is.
No, we know that too. They don't know what gravity is, but they say it
Right.
starts there.
So
the
they don't
magnetism.
need molten iron core for the magnetics. They don't need it for gravity because they don't know what gravity is. So it's just there, like a random painting. It doesn't make any
Ah.
damn sense.
It's to fill the space.
So what you're really saying is, in the days when they can make up stuff, this stuff they wish they never made up because they don't need it.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's too late. They made it up. They got to stick to it. Oh, you say there's Coriolis? Too bad. You got to stick to it. Oh, you say the Earth is a curve? Show it me. No. See, they made all this stuff up, and now when you're shining the light and saying prove it, they can't. They wish they never said any of those three things.
Maybe. Or maybe they could simply figure out, oh, wait, it was a mistaken interpretation by our scientists of the data, and it turned out to be actually quite different.
No,
It
no,
turned
no,
out to
no.
be
There's no
like a
take-backs.
solid sodium core within some kind of thingy, and there's separate lava pockets now.
No.
Changing the laws.
Yeah,
Hold
just
on.
like with the atmosphere being supposedly within range of the physical moon, as it were.
Go on,
All
Kiwi.
that. They do it there. Why wouldn't they do it here?
No. There are no take-backs. It is what it is. It is what they said it is. That's it.
Until they change it.
Well,
No.
that's what I thought Kiwi was going to say, so I'll say instead. So, a couple of things. Right. Number one, natural laws happen always. That's why they're laws. They don't get superseded. That's the first thing. Right? If it's a law, it's a law. That's how it is. Right?
I'm not
That's the
talking
first
about
thing.
the laws. Talking
second-
about the claim.
Yeah, I'm getting to that. The next thing is the claims that have got the word science or experiment attached to them when they're not, right? If you have performed that method, the scientific method, at the end is an empirical result. Now, that's not going to change. Now, the method also has the word systematic experimentation. That is to say, lots and lots and lots and lots of people verifying it. Yeah? As in, don't just take the word of the man who says that that's been verified by experimentation. Do it yourself and make sure it is. Systematic experimentation. So, given that you've got an empirical result at the end of the actual scientific method, and natural laws don't get superseded, yeah? We're in a position where the people who change their story are pretender clowns. They're just lying. And what John is saying is, once you've declared, for example, the sky is a vacuum, there's no, oh, well, we might just alter that bit of the story. No, that's what you've said it is.
Precisely. There are no takebacks. The story's the story, and they're sticking to it. And while they're sticking to it, I'm going to stick them. Thanks.
Looking at sticking
I don't know.
any evidence of, or scientific evidence of gravity. Hey, Ranty. Hey, Ranty.
Now, first, in order to have scientific evidence of something, you first need to know what it actually is.
But that's what he
There
just
has
said.
to be science.
I'm
That would
just
help.
saying. You know?
No gravity, no pseudo force. They see an effect and they call it gravity, but relative density explains it. It's the brick resting on the ground doing nothing, all of a sudden has a 9.8 meter square force. Yeah, really? How you prove that?
I don't even see how their conceptualization of how gravity is supposedly manifesting is even influencing things, since there are no forces involved. So it's literally like an ethereal mystery thingy that's supposedly weaved through creation, and they literally nobody even knows what it actually does. It's just a myth of something.
I know. Oh, and I know.
Oh, no.
It's called imagination.
Yeah, conceptualization, correct.
Mytholicism.
The search for gravity goes on.
Hey, that's a new word. I'm almost certain I know
Mytholicism.
what it means, but Mytholicism, I like that.
That's exactly what it is. Mytholicism mixed in with Dunning-Kruger.
Hey, hey.
Hey, Ranty.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good. How are
Good
you?
morning.
Tired of it.
Tired?
Yeah, I bet.
Tired. Yeah. I
Long
think it
show.
was about 3:30 when we rounded up.
QE says
Hey.
that show's been turned to private. What's the dealio?
Well, I'm considering my options whether to release it or not. I think it was a little too hot for some people.
I wasn't watching it. I was told about it right late last night. I went back in and it was private. I said, what the heck happened?
Well,
Isn't it happened after I left
I
then?
had 7 emails and 12 Skype messages when I woke up this morning, and every one of them wasn't very complimentary. Let's put it that way.
Why? What's the problem?
What happened?
Well, I can quickly describe what happened. Nathan got really sick of George's bullshit, which he always does, at least at the beginning, then started a giant, very angry rant and tirade against him. Not unjustified at all, in my opinion, although he might have gone a little far here and there. And then George basically responded by going into a weird neurotic shaving fit twice. I really thought the second time he was going to shave his head, but he didn't do it after all.
And Randy took that down? Come on, Randy. I didn't watch it. Put that back up.
I think what was it? Saying that you wanted him to die a slow, painful death, and calling him the C word might have been a little over the top there, Nathan.
That's true. That's precisely how I do feel.
Okay.
Men like that
But yeah,
deserve
so
I'll just say it again. Men like that deserve misery and pain. That's what he deserves. Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya. No.
Kumbaya.
You know, I'm not in the slightest bit ashamed of wearing my emotions towards George right on my sleeve. You know, he absolutely disgusts me.
Yeah.
Well, in the chit chat format,
can we all just get along?
I'll let anything go. But I think with the Globers, with what's going on with FE Core and stuff, I absolutely feel that if I'd have left the video up, they would have put a complaint in and said it was some kind of harassment, bullying, and I probably would have got a strike over it.
Oh, so you're not going to really... Hey, can you send it to me? I won't send it anywhere.
I'll download it and send it. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to Nathan. And I know Anthony wants a copy, but I think the Globers have already downloaded it. So
no, fair enough. If that's the case, then I owe you an apology. If I'm potentially putting you in a position where you might get a community strike or something, then I'm sorry. That wasn't my intention at all, Ranty. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. It's when it was going on, I was thinking this isn't going to go well. It's like and I can understand. I mean, the Globers are angry with what's going on with Celeste Arcane at the minute, and they're wanting to take it out on flat earthers. And to be fair, that would be an ideal opportunity to take it out on my channel for that. So it just wasn't going to run the risk on it.
Oh, I see.
Ranty. Hello, Ranty.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Well, hey everybody, how are things? You could just bring out maybe towards the end of it, maybe, if you're a bit iffy about it, because the end of it was just like with Rumpus and with George and the whole thing with the paragraph.
With the liar Rumpus. Rumpus was on there too. He was trying to have George's back.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to edit it.
Hold on.
I'm going to edit it and re-upload it, but I'm going to cut out all the swear words. So, I mean, I'm going to just. It's going to take me a whole day just to edit out all the swear words. So I'm just going to do that and then re-upload that.
Can you send me
there going to be anything left?
Black label?
Guys, Brian was right in the middle of making a point there. Go ahead, Brian.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I just towards the end of it, it was only just about Rumpus and what happened with Anthony and the paragraph that he left out. We had him put back up the paragraph, and we went through the paragraph and what it meant, and he tried to give his defense of it, and we gave our offense of it. And also, as well as that, later on, George was kind of asserting mass attracting mass, and what Rumpus had put up earlier in the night about the paragraph that completely contradicted what George was showing, and George got caught out on that. And Rumpus also said that the MK1 fire computer that was used in the World War II ships, he said that took Coriolis into account, and he sent a Wikipedia link. And when you look through the Wikipedia link, it only talks about pitch and roll of the ship, moving objects on the sea, and aircraft, anti-aircraft. And there was nothing about Coriolis in it. And we put that up at the end.
Clown.
Rumpus does that shit all the time.
Rumpus, I'm going to have a Rumpus week on my channel. And guess what? You remember that little debate back in 2016? Yeah, you remember that you thought was deleted? It wasn't. You clown, you. Everyone's going to see, well, everyone already knows you should be institutionalized, but they're going to see back in 2016 that you should have packed up and left town, brother. What a clown, Mr. Ayers, not the atmosphere. Can't wait. Ranty, I want the black label copy of that video. I want everything in it, please. Thanks.
Okay.
Oh, righty then. Any
arrogant.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
No, there's no scientific evidence of gravity.
Yeah,
can I ask Brian a question, please, before we move on?
There's evidence of the phenomenon of gravity, yeah.
Shut up, Don. I got to ask Brian a question because I didn't watch the video last night. How in the world did Rumpus pull up the citation, the entire citation, both sentences? How did he try to get around that?
He tried to say that how that was is he tried to say that it wasn't contradicting, that the second half didn't contradict the first half of the paragraph. And I pointed out to him that it did. And he said, so you're telling me that Julian Bloomfield, the astrophysicist guy, he said, you're telling me that he contradicted himself in the same paragraph. I said, yeah. And I said, pull up the paragraph. And when he did, I showed him that he contradicted himself, Julian Bloomfield contradicted himself on purpose, because he was trying to, and I said, the reason is he was trying to show you, I said, pointing at you, Rumpus, and other people like Rumpus, who believe that mass is attracting mass, that it's not.
No.
That it's the curvature of space-time.
No.
That's
Julian Bloomfield didn't contradict himself in that. Hold up. Let me go
I thought from reading it, what I got from it was that he did it on purpose, to show he didn't, not against himself, but to show that it's not a force.
Wait a second. Hold on. I'm getting there. 1 second. Okay, Julian Bloomfield. This isn't a contradiction. Let me read this. Joyland Bluefield, PhD Physics. So to summarize, general relativity says that matter bends space-time, and the effect of that bending of space-time is to create a generalized kind of force that acts on objects. However, keyword, it isn't a force as much that acts on the object, but rather just the object following its geodesic path through space-time. That's not a contradiction. That's a juxtaposition and a hammering of the first premise. Are these people illiterate too? Where's the contradiction in that?
Well, I thought it was a case of he literally contradicted himself within the same paragraph on purpose to teach people like Rumpus that gravity is not force.
No, there is no contradiction here.
Okay.
Not what I just read. Can somebody point out the contradiction?
You can in a second. MC Universe Sacred Truth Keeper, shout out to you for hitting the super chat. All George did was mute Nathan with non-stop talking. Yeah, I agree. But, you can't win them all.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting.
I'm waiting for Brian. Go ahead, Brian.
Sorry, I'm just saying my interpretation from reading it and what I said to Rumpus was that what he was trying to say was that in the first part, talking about how it creates a generalized kind of force, but however, it isn't a force. At the end, I thought he was literally on purpose, contradicting himself to teach people who think it is still mass attracting mass, that it's not mass attracting. That's what I thought it was, and that's what I said to Rumpus. I said to Rumpus, you're not understanding what he's writing. That was my interpretation of it.
Yeah, this is 4th grade reading comprehension skills. The key word, however. Do people know what however means? He was creating a juxtaposition. Right?
It was a follow-on from the previous sentence. However, that's what it means.
Yeah, it's a conclusion because this is a summary. The last sentence is a conclusion. So
yeah, anything in a paragraph is about the same subject.
Yes, this is 4th grade reading it might be lower. I'm not seeing it. Can somebody else point out the contradiction?
I think the contradiction that Brian's perceiving, now I've had to think about it for a few minutes, if you don't mind, Brian, is that the utilization of the quote mind quote is to assert that gravity is a force. So out of context, you can spin that in the way Rumpus did to say that it is a force. But when you have the entirety of the context of the quote in its entirety, it no longer represents itself in that way. As you say, it then becomes a juxtaposition between the first premise and the conclusion. Well, that's not a contradiction. It's only a contradiction when taken out of context by Rumpus and then compared to the full context of the entire quote.
Yeah, that's correct. But the paragraph itself is not a contradiction. So.
Yeah, whoever said that's correct. Yes, this is semantics. Yes, that's correct. Whoever said that.
Can you guys?
Yeah, semantics. Yeah. Words
again,
they do mean things.
Something none of you know about and study.
Yeah,
yourselves.
words they do mean things.
Arguing
right?
semantics about someone else's theory.
We use words in science very precisely.
Chocolate has a new avatar.
Chocolate has no avatar.
Yeah, an actual chocolate saying.
You hear me, guys? Can you hear me?
Is it a chocolate airwolf?
Yes, chocolate airwolf. Yes, chocolate saying, full effect.
It does kind of sound like you're in a helicopter cockpit.
Yeah, I don't have my good headphones, so I won't be talking very much.
Fair enough. So, John, say again.
Nice sunset evidence of hard horizon on the stream.
Nice sunset. Thanks.
Dawn's back.
Blatant obstruction of the sun on Nathan's stream live.
It's a photograph. It's not live.
Where did the bomb go?
Into the diffraction limit.
You've got 83 made-up reasons for where the bottom went. I know. We're listing them and writing them down as you make them up.
Yeah.
Over the last
limit.
year.
Diffraction limit. There you go.
90% of the ones on the list are completely made up terms. The other 10% are terms that don't relate to obstruction
All
in any
right,
way.
go through each one. Generalized baseless assertion fallacy. Number 1. Go ahead.
First one's perspective
Don.
from memory. Perspective's the first one on the list. Is that
Angle
a
of
made-up
attack.
word?
That's one of my favourite ones. That has
Top
nothing
one's
to do with
perspective.
obstruction at all.
Top one's perspective. Is that a made-up word?
What
Don,
about
maybe you can help your
rectilinear
ballers in the
curvature?
Discord.
What about that one?
Hold
I
on.
asked them for a
Hold on. Let
sunset
him
from a
go.
plane.
Let him
Nothing
go.
to do
Number
with
1,
obstruction
Don.
whatsoever.
Everyone's rumpusing everyone. Hold on.
Hold on, Don. Number 1. What's the first one? You're going to have to support your claims or be a village idiot. So, number 1. What's the first one?
Perspective is the first one I ever heard.
Okay, perspective. What's wrong with perspective?
Nothing to do with obstruction whatsoever.
And
it's a term that doesn't relate to what you're trying to explain, but that's the first thing you used to explain it.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Good enough. Show.
That's retarded.
Cowbell.
That's
what,
retarded.
things get too small to see?
Hold on. Claim and then support. Now
I've
you're
got
being
another
asked
one
for your
on the
support
list.
of your claim, Dawn.
Into the diffraction limit.
No, we're still on perspective.
Completely made up term.
I'm going to have to go in there.
What?
Doesn't mean
You
anything.
mean a technical spec that is on the actual camera?
Hold on. Will we get any support for this? You're saying no, perspective doesn't in any way, shape or form contribute to things disappearing from bottom up. Now you need to support your claim. So what's your support for that?
The whole world of knowledge, the internet.
Oh, that ain't
my
going to
art
make it, son.
college education.
That ain't going to make it. I'm sorry.
My art college education, my granddad's drawings. The definition of perspective.
Oh, okay. What's that?
Have a good time. Next
I
time when
asked
you
the
come
ballers.
back.
I asked the
Next time
ballers
when
in
you-
Discord to show me a sunset from a plane, and they still haven't provided.
Okay,
seen a
next
sunset from a
time when
plane.
you come back, Don.
Hold on. I've seen
I
a sunset.
haven't. I haven't
I've seen
seen
a
footage
sunset
of
from a
it.
plane. I've seen that.
Like it cutting from bottom. I wanted to see that. Have you seen it?
Cutting from bottom up.
Yeah. Because usually, like, when people look at the sunset from like a drone, it just like fades into the distance. It doesn't
Yeah,
really cut from the bottom up.
I'm not going to claim I've seen that. The cutting off from
That's
bottom up.
because, if I may explain a little, because the observer height is so high, the actual optical slant effect, that's what I call it, is so far away that before you actually even get to see the effect at the horizon from your observer point at that height, first things simply get blurred out from a lack of air clarity over distance, which always happens if enough distance is in between you and where you're looking at.
Excellent, excellent. I'll just rephrase that slightly though. So the angular resolution limit of the ground that you can see in reference to the sun is greater than the atmospheric interference or anything else that may make the sun disappear, according to Arwin. In other words, what he calls what did you call it? The angular slant? I forgot what you call it. Optical slant.
The optical slant point.
Yeah, the optical slant.
Where the apparent horizon is first seen.
Right, or aka the diffraction limit. In other words, you can see a lot further from higher up, therefore the sun might disappear before the diffraction limit, because it's higher than the diffraction limit, which is your apparent horizon from the air. Correct, Darwin?
Right, I'm presenting the old picture again.
Oh, okay. Is this an eyeball on a stick? Oh,
yeah,
I
it's
missed
the
this.
eyeball on a stick again.
That's great.
Right. So yeah, if the observer height of the eyeball in this case is so high that the optical slant point, which has a linear correlation where that manifests in relation to the observer height, just becomes so far away that you never really get to see it because the obstruction from lack of air clarity sets in first. That's what happens.
Well, that's why I made that argument in Discord.
The circle of confusion, the miraging distortion thingies only really happen if the observer is close enough to the ground in order for those effects to manifest before the lack of air clarity blurs it all up.
Right, so being close to the ground gives you a greater degree of angular limitation because the ground is obviously going to interfere with the wideness of your angle when looking across it, whereas higher up that's going to be less of a problem.
Yes.
Awesome. It's like the good old days, eh?
Yeah.
Long live Isle of Man.
Could I say something there? Oh, sorry, Nathan.
Go ahead, I'm done. I was just praising Isle of Man debates and
I
understand it
have
came
a snippet. It's kind of funny. You know, I've been watching that stupid series, the Big Bang Theory. Well, there's a series in that kind of a sub thingy where he's dealing with flags, and the actual flag of Isle of Man came up too. How's that?
Wow, that's cool. The I forgot how you say it now. Triskelion, I think is how you say it. The 3 legs.
Yes, exactly that one.
Go on, Brian.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick small statement about obstruction. As the globe side always see obstruction as one thing only, as physical obstruction. But there's 2 obstructions. There's a physical obstruction, which will be physical and visual. But then there's just visual obstruction. So Dawn was speaking about obstruction a while ago. Obstruction is twofold. It could be physical and visual, or just visual. So there's obstruction happens in both ways. That's it.
Yeah, in other words, your waves could physically, as they rise up to the midpoint of your camera, due to perspective, the physical wave itself could obscure the midpoint. That would be a physical obstruction, as opposed to something just getting too small to see because it's too far.
The physical wave and the midpoint. Oh my god.
Midpoint, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bigger lesson here, Don, and all the ballers. If you come in here and you're making claims and they're baseless assertions, you have no point, then you need to go somewhere else. Maybe go over to Jose's Retards channel, okay? But we're interested in claim support. Claim support, okay? Thanks.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Okay, now. Chocolate Airwolf.
Awesome. Yes. I got a question for Don.
Was Brian
Don?
waiting? Hold on. I'm sure Brian was waiting to say something.
You're not going to get your question to Don in.
No, Nathan, no.
Oh, okay.
I'm okay.
Sorry, go ahead, 10th man.
Yeah. So Don.
No, you ain't going to ask Don anything. Don's not going to respond to you.
All right. Well, let me try. So Don, if it's not what the panel says it is, what is it?
Man.
Are you saying it's the curvature that the Earth is falling away? Is that what you're saying?
I am muting. Oh, he's gone.
Well, there you go.
I know he is here.
I'm on mute.
Okay.
Just so you
So
know,
what
I'm
is
on
it,
mute.
Don? Is it the curvature and the Earth is falling away? Is that what you think it is?
This is about claim and support, so I'm going to need some.
But you're the one saying that it's not perspective. So what is it?
I think
the
I'm
Earth
fighting.
actually falling away?
Is it curvature?
I'm fighting to keep him into the conversation, but Kiwi definitely doesn't want him talking. I don't blame him. He's got nothing to really offer.
Curvature. I want him to say, if it's not perspective and angular and diffraction, what is it?
I'm going to need some support for your claims that the Earth's flat and that the Earth has a container, I'm afraid.
No, answer. If you're saying it's not perspective and things don't get smaller the further they go away, but they're actually going over the curve, why don't you just say it?
Claim and support. So support
No,
your
I'm
claims,
asking
guys.
you. I'm asking you, do you believe it's curvature?
This is the Flat Earth Show, your claim.
Ha 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 ha. So QE was right. You're too embarrassed to say it's the curvature.
He doesn't understand the claim that
he's
making a claim.
No, he's embarrassed because he knows he's going to get eaten up.
So, moving on.
Yes, let's move on because
Is there anybody better than Dawn to have these conversations with?
No, I think he's a coward, and I think he's embarrassed about his globe. He can't stand for it as we stand for our flat Earth. Shame on you.
I'm still curious what gravity actually is.
What's gravity?
Yeah, I did a whole defense of it, and it turns out in the end, I don't even know what it really is.
No, you do
How
know.
about that?
No, you do know.
Maybe I need
that...
to do a second run, the investigation. What is gravity?
When claiming the things we see, they would assert Newtonian gravity, out-of-date gravity, and assert that it's the forced repositioning in equilibrium of something that has been forced into disequilibrium. That's what they call Newtonian gravity in terms of the
but at
effect
least
that it
there's somewhat
exerts.
of an earthly claim laid into that. The Einsteinian thing don't even know what they're claiming.
Yeah, right. Well, you've got to take that
Literally don't
nonsense
know.
out of reality and push it into the conceptual, right?
I don't understand the claim. What is gravity doing again? If it's not a force, how is that leading to matter clinging into a ball shape? If it's not a force, how is it happening? What is the bending of space-time? What would the bending of space-time do if it were to be real? I don't get the claim.
It's
It's
Catholicism.
imaginary belief. That's all.
Doesn't exist. Concept ain't doing nothing.
No, but it's worse than that. If it were to be real, what would it do? I don't get the claim. It's literally
They don't-
just
Arlen,
walking
they don't
over
get the
into
claim.
a black hole mid-sentence.
They don't get the claim. It's their claim. That's the problem.
Hoping this won't cause a row, Arwin, but this was the tact I took last time, but you were a bit less concise in your what you don't understand bit. So last time I was like, well, if you've got me trying to explain to you how the time dilation in Narnia works, and it is analogous, you know, a conceptual place, Narnia, and a concept of a change in the way that life is presenting itself. Although it all appears normal on screen in Narnia, there's a very real time dilation issue, isn't there? The kids, when they come back through the wardrobe, they're still kids, even though they've grown old in Narnia. Well, I can try and explain that to you till I'm blue in the face, but it's still taking place in a place that doesn't exist.
Right.
So it really doesn't
but
matter.
At least I understand that claim. It is somehow some kind of physical related claim. I don't understand what the claim is at all with Einsteinian gravity. I just don't get what they're supposed to be saying. And not because I don't get it because I'm too stupid, but because there doesn't seem to be a real claim there that actually ties into anything physical. Just doesn't make any sense.
Well, conceptual, which is how it's described, means not real. So it's never going to tie into anything physical.
No, that's not what I said.
I'm not saying you said that.
If it's
I'm
a
saying,
concept, it can still relate to actual physical things conceptually, but it doesn't do that. That's the issue.
Well, there are some things that Nathan talked about, I don't know, it was a couple of shows ago, where you could, there's no axial rotation, but there's an axis. Okay? Because you can experience an axis, but there's no axial rotation. So there's conceptual in the broader sense, and then there's conceptual that you can't tie to physical.
Yeah, but
That's
when
what I'm
somebody says axial rotation, you at least can sort of visualize what they're meaning, what they're implying. I can't with this Einsteinian.
No
gravity.
one can.
I don't get.
Hold on.
Why,
Let me just-
why are you trying to get something that you're not supposed to get? No,
No,
one
that was a
can.
good example, 10th Man. So I'll just paraphrase what 10th Man said, Arwin. So he's saying, with axial rotation, the concept of that physical thing that you can experience being transposed onto a sphere Earth is something that you can take those those conceptual steps to see it in your mind's eye. Yeah?
Yes.
You understand what they're claiming, what the end result is, what an axis is. Well, what 10th Man's saying is that's something that's been taken from an actual to a concept about something. Well, this isn't a concept about something that's an actual to begin with. The entire medium, space-time, is conceptual, like Narnia. So you're never going to get to the stage where you can compare it to the physical and actual, because that's not what it is.
Right. But people seem to think it is.
You can
What
think
it
of it as
actually
being
does
physical.
is close off.
Now you're talking
gravity.
like Musa.
It
You're getting
closes
there, man.
it off. It
You-
closes the window.
You're 2 steps off being able to bullshit like Musa. You're so close.
Share your pain.
It's a magical force.
I was like, yeah,
It's
but
not-
people
it's
think
not
of
a
it
force,
as it.
It's not anything. It
Well,
doesn't relate to
Some
anything.
subtle. Hold on, let me just get it in.
physical.
Just some subtle changes, Arwin. Instead of people think of it, if you just change that to, but you could think of it as a real medium, you'd be there, man. You could be an astrophysicist.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in that kind of job, but thanks anyway.
They
Pays good.
actually think time does something.
Yeah, but that conclusion cannot be drawn from the actual data. That's purely created, fabricated
Because-
in the mind of the people
course.
wanting to see sense in it somehow.
Yeah, that's right, Owen. That's correct.
It is it stands out from the other arguments. The other arguments have actual claims about physical reality. This one does not. It makes it pretty unique compared to the rest.
No, I'll give you one. I'll
Share
give you
your
one.
pain. Keep going. It's cathartic.
It's great.
I'll give you one, Arlen. The Earth is obviously
There was a-
observably. The Earth is
Sorry,
obviously.
I can't
Let me
hear
finish.
Hold on, 10th man, you're getting. Hold on, Brian, we will come to you.
Yeah.
I'll give you one. I'll give you one right here, Arwen. The Earth is obviously and observably flat. I could take a baller with me, go outside and say, "Do you see it spinning? Do you feel it spinning?" He'll say no. But what does he believe?
What does that have to do with it?
The
Yeah, that was rubbish.
physical versus the make-believe, the magic.
Yeah,
Magically-
I know that's what they do. I'm just
I'm just
pointing at
telling
it
you
and
that-
saying, look, this argument doesn't even have any claims about physical reality. That
And
makes
I'm
it pretty
saying
standing
even-
out compared to the rest, how deep the delusion
And I'm
goes. It's so deep that people are literally forced to somehow imagine a physical connection with it to reality because it is claimed officially to be that. Yet it gives no hint as to how it does that. So people literally fantasize it. They are forced to fantasize it if they want to go with it. That's what's happening.
Is anything what I said getting to you? I'm saying that when you are in the physical Earth and you say to me, not you,
Yeah.
Arlen, not you, Arlen, just hear
We're
me
not
out.
on
I
the
listen
same
to-
level
Hold
here.
on, Owen.
Well, I listen to you, so
Do
please
you?
listen to me.
So,
I waited until you were finished.
oh, but that's not the same thing. That's
Oh,
what ballers
wait,
do too.
just
Waiting
Owen,
till
come on,
the
you're just
other
rumpusing him now. Come on.
Arwen, please. I am saying that a baller here on the physical Earth will say, no, I don't see the curve and I don't feel the move, but I believe it. What am I saying? That he can have physical proof of the opposite, like Dawn, and still live in Narnia.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I know. That's what it
Okay,
all is.
You're in agreement.
Except for
Hold on,
gravity.
both
though.
of you calm down.
Except for gravity, because they
both
don't
of you,
tell
hold
you
on.
what you're supposed
Both
to
of
be.
you,
believing.
Owen and
You're
10th
gonna have to
man.
dream it up
Hold
yourself.
on, hold on.
Why are
You're in
you
agreement.
getting all
It's the end.
crazy
You're in
about
agreement.
Concept.
You're both in agreement. That's great.
Yes.
So that's it. You're in agreement. Brian,
Exactly.
go ahead.
Exactly. The
Yeah,
retardation
thanks,
is so
Nathan.
big.
A video I watched
Hold on,
yesterday.
Brian.
I think someone shared it in
Brian.
Sorry?
Sorry to interrupt you immediately. I think 10th man wants to make a concluding point. Go ahead, 10th man.
Yeah, the retardation of the ballers is so complete and deep that even if you had a physical proof they live in Narnia, and when they want to live in Narnia with no physical proof, conceptual time space, they do both.
Right on. Cognitive dissonance. Go ahead, Brian.
Thanks, Nathan. A video I watched yesterday, someone posted it in Master Bees this morning, I think. Is this lady speaking about how Einstein's gravity, theory of gravity is wrong because it doesn't hold up in the face of quantum mechanics. And they're trying to come up with a new gravity. And basically what she was speaking about was basically, I think she called it the new gravity of relativity, something like that. But basically how I think it's going to go is they're going to concede on the relative density and just keep moving gravity off out into bigger things out in space. And that way they get to keep gravity and kind of concede on relative density, which they won't do straight away, but they will do it, but they can't not. And I believe that when they do that, they're going to keep gravity. It's like damage control. You have to keep on coming up with a new gravity. If you can't prove something that isn't there, all you can do is change your story about it.
Sounds like you and I have a similar mind in this regard. So if I said to you, Brian, do you believe that this is what we're involved in now, just a slow paradigm shift being trickled into the general populace? Would you agree with that statement?
Yes, I would. Yes.
Yeah, that's my feelings on it too. I like what you're saying. Yeah, I think that's what it is. They're figuring out how to smear the next layer of bullshit onto gravity, basically, and some of these discussions are going to be quite useful for that. I smile. I shouldn't. It should piss me off, but I'm so used to it.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. I mean, I reckon it's in a direct correlation to your show, Flat Earth Debate. That a lot of that they're basically using that as a yardstick of what they're going to have to create, because what's been said on this show for the past couple of years is what they can't disprove. So they need to come up with something else. So they need to find a way of conceding and gaining at the same time, like damage control. It's a game of chess, you know.
Yep. Just keeping that forest fire under control as much as they possibly can, as far as I can tell. The floodgates have been opened,
Yes.
in my opinion.
Sorry, Nathan, I missed the last part.
I just said the floodgates are open. They were open in 2015.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I have a bigger theory that, or let's say concept, that the NASA, how they're going to deal with NASA when they just can't prove space, is they're going to say that, well, what it was is that we thought it was a globe, but we couldn't get out there because our rockets wouldn't work. But we kept on thinking we were going to get out there, and we never did. Then we found out that it wasn't a globe, and what could we? And we're sorry. Something along those lines.
Nah, that's just one of those media rules. Never apologise. So they're not going to make any concessions and apologies for any sort of misleading. You know, they're more than happy to just stick it down the memory hole. You know, there's a change of specific detail one day, and that will just be how it remains.
Yeah.
And people are.
Yes.
You know, it's like in 1984, literally. They'll change a very fundamental detail about who's at war with who, and the following day people go, yeah, it was always Oceania at war. Well, what? Some people reject it for a day or two, and then they just get on with it after a week because it's not in the news anymore, and that's just how it is. Well, while that's a bit overt, you know, the transition is probably what we're involved in. In other words, it's not just a literally chuck it down a memory hole, and because that wouldn't work. You've got to have a certain amount of transition. Oh well, hello, Alan.
Hello, boys. How are we doing?
Very well. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Sunning it up in Singapore.
Is that where you are?
The return of Alan B. Look at that.
Singapore.
Exactly, Mr. Chocolate.
What's up, man?
Have you missed me?
Be absolutely
Of
sweltering
course.
in Singapore right now. Beautiful place.
Yeah. I heard you bought an Alan Partridge car.
An Alan Partridge car.
A Lexus.
That an Alan Partridge car? I didn't know that. I'm not a massive Alan Partridge fan.
The sales rep's choice.
Yeah, it's a Repmobile. It's cheap, reliable Japaneseness. Very dull. You can take the piss all you like. I don't care.
But didn't you buy an £800 car and spend $3,000 on it?
Yeah, I did it up nice. I wanted it to be pretty.
Why didn't you buy a £3,000 car, a newer one, and spend $800 on it?
I didn't have £3,000. I had £850. So that's what I spent, because that's precisely what I had. So that's the amount I had in my bank. I went and withdrew to the limit, cash, £850, which is what I had to purchase on the car. And then over a prolonged period, maybe 6 weeks, I spent money on it as I could acquire the money to spend on it. That's just how it works out when you're poor.
Must be making a good living from the old flat earth then?
Not really. I had an investment trust that we cashed out that was worth $2,000.
Yeah, I thought you were doing quite well on Patreon.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm doing all right. I get about $700 out of Patreon. Very big shout out. That's why I shout them out daily. You know, yes, they're keeping me going. Thank you very much to all the people who do support me on Patreon. But yeah,
Yes, hit that super cash.
Hit that super cash. Indeedy do.
Is Sam Hain turned up? He's a big donor.
Sam Hain, yeah, it's good super smasher.
Ranty loves him, apparently.
I'm sure he does. So about Singapore, beautiful place. It's always trying to be taken back over by the environment, though. Like the jungle is constantly trying to take the place over.
To say it's warm and humid would be an understatement.
Yeah, that was exactly my experience there.
Can I just say,
but pretty.
I absolutely love Sam Hain. There we go. Absolutely love it. When he comes in and he smashes the super chat, it's great. Thanks for reminding me about that, Alan.
Yeah, well, that money can go towards decorating one in 5 bedrooms, Ranty.
He made a shout out to me yesterday. That was awesome on Ranty's
Sorry to interrupt you.
channel.
Just quick shout out to Mind of God. He says, great channel. Thank you very much for the super chat. Mind of God. Yeah, beautiful. One of the most beautiful places ever. Where you are right now. Idyllic.
Yes, and I've just ordered some pork soup.
Yeah, good food too in Singapore.
Yep, that's nice.
Just a shame about all the prostitution.
Well, you're one to speak.
I'm not a prostitute.
I bet you've missed this, haven't you?
It's a good bit of banter.
Listen, what Nathan does on the weekends is his business, all right?
Look,
Don't worry
I'm
about
definitely
it.
not a prostitute.
Well, he kind of prostitutes himself out to FE and
There's a difference
QE.
between a whore and a prostitute.
Smash the super chat.
Smashing the super chat
A
makes me a
part-time
whore,
gigolo.
not a prostitute.
Where is QE?
I'm sure he hears you.
How's Alwyn doing? Still got the daily show where you eat things?
You were there, weren't you?
Yeah. Turns on his computer and eats stuff.
And talks about
The
stuff.
early bird now, I think.
I've missed 200 shows, Alwyn.
Yeah. That's not mutual.
Do you want us to update you?
Well, I guess I missed the difficult guy period. What was his name? Who never believed in anything? Slim Jim or something.
Oh, Slick James.
Yes, he's fantastic, isn't he?
Yeah, I always liked Slick James. He got a bit misogynistic towards the end. Not that I personally experienced it firsthand, but I had plenty of information about it. But yeah, I mean, on the show, I liked him a lot. I think he's a great guy. He'd be welcome back if he came today. I'd say hello and welcome him like I'd welcome anybody else.
So what's happened? I've missed 300 shows, Nathan. What's happened since?
Oh, you want to be updated? Okay. Well, the sky is not a vacuum because the gas would fill the space. So any fundamentalist religious assertions about outer space and satellites and travelling to the moon, all that goes out the window when you point out that space is analogous to Narnia. You know, a region that can't exist, that's just made up. So that's that. Can't have gas pressure without a container. Space is fake. Been no evidence at all of Earth curvature. Constant reifications of the horizon, the arbitrary position where the sky meets the ground, into an Earth curve edge. We see that quite a lot. Told to measure how much it dips and things to give you R values. R values still presupposed, begging the question fallacy that's applied at nausea almost with every single claim to be globe proof. So that's that. What else? Paul Voigt, you won't be surprised about this one. Paul Voigt still hasn't come up with any evidence for a molten iron core that self-perpetuates. So that probably
Has he been on the show since that claim?
No, that was the end of Paul Voigt.
And since then, from your side, we've discovered that air is not the atmosphere. We've discovered that shoe can be a natural observed phenomenon. We've discovered that you can prove Coriolis with a hot tub that's rotating with torpedoes.
Don't forget the accelerating coffee cups.
Oh, and my coffee cup that's sitting on the table is now accelerating. So these are the things that we've learned from the globe side.
A hot tub with torpedoes.
Yeah, we're not even joking either, unfortunately. There's been
that sounds like one of Spurs' videos.
It was Zanuck. You may not know Zanuck.
Where is Spurs?
Spurs has been on a one-man mission to disprove gas pressure.
He's in a bit of a mesh.
A mesh?
Spurs is basically trying to debunk the fact that you're breathing right now. So yeah.
Oh, so we got a break. Hey, can I get a shameless plug-in?
Can get a shameless plug-in, but just before you do, I just wanted to tell one last thing. So we've had some strange allegiances as well, Alan. So we've had conspiracy cats in regards to, well, the vacuum of space, again, being bunk. You know, without the container, there can be no pressure, end quote. Conspiracy cats 2019. Wiggles, you may remember, quote, the gas would fill the space, end quote, Wiggles, 2019. And then most recently, George Netanyahu, in principle, the gas could occupy all of space, end quote. So we've got quite a few allegiances in regards to the fakeness of space from the ball side. That's about the only other thing I can think of to update you. There's probably
anything from Fight the Flat Earth?
Oh yeah, Fight the Flat Earth has claimed that he's measured the distance to the sun. Just a liar.
Did he use sticks?
He did it when he was an itch in his dad's pants.
That was our reaction too, Alan.
Did he do it with his gut? Did he get Tim Osmond shut down?
That was a claim, right? When anyone says that, most recently, I'm immediately going to take it away from who you focused on because I don't want to know where you're going with it. But recently, Anthony claimed that Brenda had copyright struck him for something that he had upon his channel that potentially violated a community guideline. And I was immediately going, you can't prove that's Brenda. And in the same way, Tim Osmond cannot prove it's anybody. You know, so while he might claim that the Globeheads were the people strike him in that instance, and they might have even said they're going to in Discord, it doesn't mean that's the reason why, or there's a specific individual you can lay the blame at. But feel free to go ahead and make your point, and then QE will do his point.
No, I wasn't making a point. I'm simply catching up. I mean, you do get
right.
to see the person's name if you put a counterclaim in.
Yeah.
Because,
no, that's different. No, that's wrong. No, that's incorrect. So if you've got a copyright claim, so for the sake of argument, let's say you take 10-minute chunk of this show, unedited, and just stick it on your channel. Even if you did an intro and outro to it, I could come along and say, right, from this minute to this minute is a completely unedited chunk of my material. I will copyright strike this person. Then you will get to see my name, my address, my phone number, all of my communication details, in case, as I've had to do in the past, you get involved with actual solicitors and actual courts. Well, that is a copyright strike. A community guideline strike, however, you're not going to find out who's done that. You get a community guideline strike based on whether or not you've breached community guidelines. That's YouTube's community guidelines as opposed to copyright.
Okay.
But so you wouldn't get that info from a community guideline strike.
Well,
QE.
That's me caught up.
It is. QE, go ahead. You plug away.
Yeah, so at 2 p.m. U.S. Central Time, 8 p.m. UK on Quantum Eraser channel. Today, I think it's Slick James Johnson and Anon getting taken to the woodshed. It's PG, parental guidance suggested kind of some strong language. So be there at Quantum Eraser channel or B Sphere. Thanks.
Be here or B Sphere. On the Quantum Eraser channel, be here or B Sphere. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 live stream, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in, smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. A massive thank you to all of today's live debating panel. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Wait.
Be there or be pair.
Be here or be sphere.
A Tyson pair.
You can even put it the other way around if you don't like it because it's slightly illogical, which it is, and I understand that. It's just nice sounding. So you could say be here or be sphere on the Quantum Eraser channel, because that does make sense.
Oh, I could do it that way. Yeah. Hey, you running another live show?
Yeah, I will be. It'll go out on the second channel though, and then get turned off.
Yeah.
Hey, Sleeping Warrior.
Hey.
Did you give Alan the link, right? Did you give Alan the link?
Yeah, that's okay, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it's okay. I just wanted to double check. That's why I didn't quiz him on
I
the
was
show.
just wondering too.
We were talking about him only the other day, so I kind of suspected that might happen because Anthony keeps in reasonable touch with Alan.
Are my ears burning?
So, Alan,
your
what
ear.
did you get sent down for this time?
Sorry to talk about you in the third person, Alan.
Sent down?
Alan, yeah, you've been gone for 3 months. You did a stretch, didn't you?
Longer. Nearly 6.
Yeah, he did a stretch at Shady Meadows.
At Her Majesty's pleasure, eh?
Supervised.
Hey, that does actually make sense. Have you been to jail, Alan? Come on, makes sense. 6 months maximum in a magistrate's court.
6 months.
He's fled the country now. He's in Singapore.
Can I ask Alan a question?
Are you up to speed with George Musa and you can gravity is not a force, but you can think of it as a force?
You can
No, I'm not up to speed with any of it.
After this Musa update, 10th man, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Anthony.
So Fight the Flat Earth and I had a hangout, and in the hangout we started talking about gravity. I cited a document from Scientific American, and he didn't like it. So Fight the Flat Earth took me to challenge on it, and he contacted the author of that said article and basically got in contact with him directly and started like a back and forth, and eventually he got an interview out of him, a proper interview on his channel. And in this period interim, he decided to dedicate a whole week to hating on me, right? He spent literally every video for a week just calling me names and all this kind of stuff. I didn't watch any of it, but what I did watch was what happened. Somebody fill me in because I'm going to have to answer this.
People, go on mute if you're not talking.
It's Anthony's own phone. It's the guy talking. Go on, 10th man. Hold on.
Calm down, Q.
Hold on, 10th man was in the wings waiting for a gap anyway. Go ahead, 10th man.
Oh, perfect segue. Speaking of wings, hi, Alan. How are you doing?
Hi, 10th man.
You're in Singapore, so how long was your flight? You don't have to tell me where you left to go to Singapore.
Hey,
How long was your
got
flight to
your
Singapore?
mic open. Hold on a second. Hey, Ranty, you got your mic open?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it's bad, dude.
It's probably up a ladder.
Thanks. Go ahead, 10th. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how long Alan's flight was getting to Singapore. Doesn't matter where the destination.
An hour 30.
An hour, okay. So, besides takeoff and descent, was the airplane flying level?
What? How would I know that from the inside?
Well, when you have a drink in your cup, the water level would be level in the cup.
Oh, we're still getting background noise. Anthony, is your mic open?
No, sir. Not guilty. I was on mute.
I'm getting bad feedback. Is it only me?
I can hear a squeaking, John.
Someone in Discord. Just try and keep your mics closed if you're not talking.
Go ahead. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, my point, Alan, is in long plane flights, the pilot says we'll be flying level at 30,000 feet. And if it's a long flight, it could be 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever. And if the plane's flying level, how's it accounting for the curve of the Earth when it have to dip, like QE says, every minute so many feet? And so you could really tell by a drink in your hand on your table by it being level, that it's flying level is never dipping, and you don't sense the plane dipping. I'm just wondering if you experienced that.
No.
Oh, so it was level flight then, right?
No idea.
No idea.
Reading a book.
No, okay.
It was just a short flight from Sri Lanka.
Yeah, well, next time you're on the flight, do that little test.
Well, the next flight's going to be a long one.
Perfect.
Singapore to Manchester.
That should be a good test.
Should I get a spirit level?
You can use the one on your phone. It's a digital, and you can use. Why waste money? Just order a drink and put it on your table and watch it.
You don't need a spirit level. If the Earth was curved like they said it was, at 8 inches per mile squared, it'd be like a fucking roller coaster ride. Jeez.
Still angry, John?
I'm not angry, unless you play some rap.
Do you not like rap music?
This is
I
John's
love
happy voice.
rap music. Shout out to Chocolate.
Is my mic
I
working
like
today?
my rap, all right?
sound checking and stuff for the next show. So with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream for, again, hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. A massive thank you again to all of today's debating panel. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!